What would you do if I told you that right now you could stop the leading cause of preventable death in the world? Would you do it? If given the chance, would you take the opportunity to save over 6 million lives every year for as long as the earth turns? Let's make this a little more interesting. What would you do if I told you that that number, 6 million people, would grow to 8 million people you could save every year by the year 2030? Interested yet? In the United States alone, you could be saving over 500,000 lives a year. That would stop 1 in every 5 deaths. If you weren't listening already, do I have your attention now? This scenario is completely plausible. It's something we as a nation could do tomorrow and instantly make progress on saving lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans. This cause of death that I speak of is not cancer, drunk driving, gun violence, or heart failure, though not to minimize any of those. The cause of death that I speak of is none other than smoking cigarettes. For too many people in this nation succumb to the urge to smoke, and it is literally killing people in our nation by the thousands. Though many know the health risks, we still allow this practice to go on in public places and businesses, open to the general public. My name is Michael Lupo, and I propose that smoking should be banned from restaurants in all 50 states, as well as public parks and buildings. First, I'd like to look at the harm that smoking causes to the smoker in restaurants and public places. Like I previously stated, smoking is the leading cause of preventable death in the world. Worldwide, tobacco use results in nearly 6 million deaths per year. Scientists at the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, have inferred that given the current trends, the number will reach 8 million lives per year by the year 2030. In the U.S. alone, 1,300 people die every day from cigarette smoking. On average, a smoker dies 10 years earlier than non-smokers. I presume all of you listening to this video are over the age of 10, so I want you to think about the last 10 years of your life. For those of you like me, that may have included middle school, high school, and even college. Think of the massive accomplishments that you've made in the past 10 years. That's a lot of time to do some incredible things. Let's not let that time be cut short for other Americans because they picked a bad and costly habit. Though one does not die the moment they pick up a cigarette, there are startling effects that are associated with smoking regularly. More than 16 million people today live with a disease that is caused by smoking. For every person who dies of smoking, there are at least 30 people who live with some smoking-related disease. As if the death toll wasn't high enough, smoking causes all sorts of diseases. According to the CDC, it's known to cause cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung disease, diabetes, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, including emphysema and chronic bronchitis. It increases the risk for coronary heart disease by 2 to 4 times, and increases the risk for stroke by also 2 to 4 times, and increases the risk for lung cancer by over 25 times. For those of you who aren't worried about these effects because you don't smoke and you aren't around secondhand smoke, there are some other reasons that you should consider the economic implications of smoking. Nearly $170 billion in medical care for adults is part of the toll of smoking, as well as more than $156 billion in lost productivity because of premature death and exposure to secondhand smoke. Your tax dollars are being used to fund this venture, and in the push for socialized system of healthcare in the U.S., you will no doubt be paying for the poor choices of the others around you. However, that's a debate for another day. If smoking only harmed the smoker, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If the choice to smoke only affected the one picking up the cigarette, I would not be in favor of a smoking ban. There'd be no need to limit someone from making a personal decision that doesn't harm anyone else. Unfortunately, this is not the case for smoking cigarettes. In the United States alone, it is estimated that 41,000 deaths result from exposure to secondhand smoke. Smoking can cause preterm delivery for children, stillbirth, low birth weight, sudden infant death syndrome, and orofacial clefts in infants. Jack Rutherford of the Richmond Register has some wide words in regard to health effects of secondhand smoke. He says, and I quote, "Unlike other self-indulgent behaviors like eating fast food or drinking alcohol in public, secondhand smoke is not singularly linked to the participant. The negative effects of smoking in public carry over to the other people's lives with a tangible, measurable, and sometimes permanent impact. Whereas eating fast food for every meal or excessive alcohol consumption is likely to be harmful to the individual, the negative impact on others is minimal." Secondhand smoke directly affects other people who choose to eat at the same restaurant. The danger is simply too huge to ignore, and we cannot allow this type of thing to happen when it puts innocent men, women, and children at risk. Though it's a personal choice for people to smoke cigarettes, waste their money, and shorten their lives, the solution lies in banning smoking from restaurants and public places. Though many states, including Michigan, have already banned smoking from restaurants, there are still 16 states in the U.S. that have not banned smoking in restaurants and bars. There's been great success at the local and state level of government in protecting the U.S. population from public smoke. It's found that 62.5% of the U.S. population is free of the public smoke because of the state and local laws. I suggest that each state mandates a smoking ban in public places and restaurants. The ban in public places would lead to a healthier workplace where workers can enjoy fresh, clean air, free from risk of pollutants that come from cigarettes. Lingering smoking odors could be removed. Restaurants would retain more value and risk less depreciation of their property because the facilities would be altogether cleaner. A good example of this is thinking about car depreciation. No one wants to buy a car that's been smoked in. I don't. The cars are worth less after they've been smoked in. The same principle works for restaurant properties. I want you to think about your next vacation to a perfect island getaway. You have the entire island to yourself, save the staff that caters to your every need. How does the beach look? When you get there, you find that there are cigarette butts scattered all over the sand along with other forms of litter. This litter was left from the last group of people who used the island. Now the island mandates a public smoking ban, and voila, there's no more cigarette butts on your beautiful white sand. The restaurant is clean, and you can enjoy the smell of sizzling meat on the grill instead of the stale cigarette smoke. This is a dream worth fighting for. This is a dream worth creating policy for. While public smoking ban would inevitably save innocent people from inhaling toxins, there's also a hidden benefit for smokers. This ban would make it more difficult for smokers to smoke their cigarette, hopefully leading for some of them to give up cigarettes altogether. The CDC reports that after 2 to 5 years, a smoker's health can and will go back to that of a non-smoker. This, more than anything, could save the lives of thousands of Americans. Though the opposition may tell you that the manner of personal choice and liberty, when it puts others at risk in such a real way, the choice has to be forfeited. We have laws in place for a reason. Though someone might consciously make the decision to steal someone else's car, we cannot protect that as a personal choice because it takes away freedom and liberty from someone else. The same is true of smoking in public places. If the smoke is taking time off other people's lives, we need to get rid of public smoking. Class, this is an important issue. You've heard how smoking today negatively affects the lives of smokers. It increases the risk of far too many life-threatening diseases and cuts the smoker's life short by 10 years or more. Non-smokers in public areas are at risk due to secondhand smoke. Call your local representatives. Get involved in the movement towards a smoke-free world. Together we can save lives. Thank you.